Welcome to Earthborn Valor, where human courage meets the unknown. Tonight we bring you a story of fire, beauty, and danger. When the galaxy's most beautiful alien diplomat was sent to charm a human, but destiny twisted into something far greater. Stay with us till the end. You won't want to miss the shocking turn that changed both their worlds forever. If you love powerful HFY sci-fi tales, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Earthborn Valor, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next adventure. The war started without warning. No one could explain why the alien fleet appeared in Earth's skies one morning. At first, people thought it was a show of power, a message written in fire across the clouds. Cities trembled under the hum of giant ships that blotted out the sun. Humanity had no plan, no secret weapon, no second chance. Fear spread like wildfire and the world prepared for the worst. But then something strange happened. Instead of launching weapons, the aliens sent a single shuttle. Out of it stepped a figure no one expected. Tall, graceful, with flawless skin that shimmered faintly like starlight. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her eyes glowed with a soft violet hue. She looked more like a goddess than an invader. And she was smiling. Her name was Seduce, though humans whispered other names in secret. The alien siren. The galaxy's temptress. The angel from another world. But her true identity was clear. She was a diplomat. She had not come with guns or blades, but with charm, beauty, and words sharp enough to cut through steel. The Alien Council had chosen her for a reason. They believed humans could not resist her. They believed that men especially would fall under her spell, surrendering secrets and alliances without even realizing it. And they had given her one clear mission: seduce, manipulate, and control. But humans are not so easy. When Seduce entered the chamber where Earth's leaders had gathered, silence fell. Even hardened generals stared too long, yet one man did not. His name was Daniel Hayes, a former soldier who had seen too many wars. His eyes were cold, his hands steady, his voice calm when he finally spoke. "You expect us to believe this is peace?" he asked. Seduce tilted her head, her smile never fading. "Peace is a choice. War is a waste. Your kind has survived so much, yet you risk throwing it all away. I came to offer something better." The words rolled off her tongue like honey. She stepped closer, her every movement calculated, her every glance designed to draw Daniel in. Most men would have melted. Most would have surrendered. But Daniel's gaze didn't waver. That was when Seduce felt something she had not expected. Doubt. For the first time in her career, her charm did not work. She had been trained to manipulate kings, generals, and tyrants, but this human stood firm. The more she tried, the more he resisted. And the more he resisted, the more something dangerous began to stir inside her. Curiosity. Outside, the world teetered on the edge of chaos. Armies waited for a command. Ships hovered, ready to rain fire. Everyone believed that the fate of Earth would be decided by weapons. But inside that chamber, the real war had already begun. A silent duel between one alien diplomat and one stubborn human. Seduce leaned closer, lowering her voice so only Daniel could hear. "Do you not desire me, human? Your kind always desires." Daniel's answer was a whisper of steel. "Desire is easy. Trust is not. Tell me the truth, why are you really here?" For a moment her mask slipped. For a moment she almost told him. But then she smiled again, softer this time, almost unsure. Something in her chest shifted that night, something she had never felt before. She told herself it was strategy. She told herself it was part of the mission. But deep down she already knew. This was the beginning of something she could not control. The war outside had just started. But inside her, another kind of war was already burning. A war between duty and desire, between mission and heart, and neither side was willing to surrender. The chamber doors closed with a heavy thud, sealing Seduce and Daniel inside with the other leaders. But though voices filled the room, her eyes kept drifting back to him. Every diplomat's move was meant to bend men like him, yet he stood there like a wall of stone. It bothered her. Seduce had been raised on the art of persuasion. On her world, beauty was a weapon, sharper than any blade. She had been trained to move her hands just so, to tilt her head at the exact angle, to let her voice hum with a rhythm that touched the nerves of any listener. She had ended rebellions with a smile, toppled entire governments with a single whispered promise. And yet here on Earth, one soldier's eyes stripped away her tricks. Daniel listened but did not react. He watched her every step, not with desire but with suspicion. His silence was louder than the thunder of warships above. "Humanity stands at a crossroad," Seraphis said, her voice echoing through the chamber. "Join us and your planet will be spared. Resist and we will crush you." "The choice is simple," gasps filled the room. Some leaders exchanged nervous glances. Others leaned forward, spellbound by her flawless face. But Daniel's voice cut through the tension like a blade. "You call that peace? That's slavery with a prettier name." Seraphis froze. For one instant she forgot her role. The edge in his tone, it reached her deeper than she wanted. Her smile flickered, then returned, but this time it felt fragile. The council erupted into argument. Some begged for surrender, fearing extinction. Others demanded resistance, unwilling to bow. Seraphis watched the chaos unfold. This was her mission, to divide them, weaken them, make Earth easy to swallow. But why? Why did Daniel's words leave a sting in her chest? Later, when the meeting ended, Seraphis found herself walking down the long steel corridor of the human base. 2 guards followed, but she ignored them. She could still feel Daniel's eyes in her mind, questioning, steady, unyielding. It unsettled her. It angered her. But worse, it pulled her. She was not supposed to feel anything. Yet that night she dreamed. In her dream, Earth was burning. Cities fell under alien fire, humans screamed in the dark. She stood in the center, her hands red with guilt. And in the flames stood Daniel, refusing to bow even as the world ended. His voice echoed, "Desire is easy. Trust is not." Seraphis woke with a start. Her heart raced. For the first time in her life, her perfect training cracked. She pressed her hands to her chest, whispering to herself, "It's only strategy. It's only a mission." But deep down she knew it was more. The next morning she requested another private meeting. She told the Human Council it was necessary to negotiate details. They hesitated, but in the end they agreed. Only Daniel was chosen to represent them. He entered the room without fear. His uniform was plain, his steps firm. He did not bow, he did not smile. He sat across from her like a soldier ready for battle. "You wanted this talk," he said. "So talk." Seraphis leaned closer, her violet eyes locking on his. "Why do you resist me? Your leaders already hesitate. Your people already fear. You could save them by choosing peace." "Peace is not what you're offering," Daniel answered. His voice was low, steady. "You're offering chains." Her lips parted, ready to throw another lie, another sweet poison. But the words caught in her throat. Looking at him, she saw something she had never seen before. Someone she could not control. The silence stretched. Then, without planning, without permission, the truth slipped out. "I don't want this war." Daniel's eyes narrowed. "What did you say?" Seraphis looked away, her heart pounding. She had betrayed her mission with that one sentence. She was supposed to be flawless, loyal, unbreakable. But in front of this human, the mask shattered. "I was sent here to seduce, to charm, to make you surrender," she whispered. "But you make me doubt everything." Daniel's chair scraped the floor as he rose. He leaned forward, close enough for her to feel the heat of his breath. "Then tell me the truth. What's coming next? How long before your fleet attacks?" She hesitated. Her world demanded obedience. Failure meant exile, maybe even death. But her heart twisted. She had never feared death before. Now she feared something worse, seeing his eyes filled with betrayal. 3 days, she finally said. "They will strike in 3 days if you do not surrender." Daniel's face darkened. "Then we'll fight." She wanted to tell him not to. She wanted to reach across the table and beg him to stop. But her hand stayed frozen on her lap. As he turned to leave, Seraphis whispered softly, almost to herself, "What if I don't want to be your enemy?" He stopped at the door. For a long moment he didn't move. Then, without looking back, he said, "Then prove it." The door closed. She sat alone, trembling. Her mission was breaking apart. Her world would never forgive her. And yet her heart beat faster than ever before. For the first time, Seraphis realized pregnancy, love, betrayal, destiny, none of it had been written in her orders. But something powerful was pulling her toward the human who refused to bend, and she feared it was already too late to stop. The human base was alive with preparation. Soldiers ran drills, weapons were loaded. Sirens echoed in the air. In 3 days, Earth would face a storm unlike any before. But deep inside, far away from the noise of war, Seraphis sat alone in her chamber. Her reflection stared back at her in the polished glass wall. She was still flawless, violet eyes glowing, silver hair flowing like silk. But inside she was breaking. Every lesson, every command, every word drilled into her since childhood told her to stay loyal. Yet Daniel's voice kept piercing her mind. Then prove it. The more she thought of him, the more her mission twisted into something unrecognizable. She was supposed to seduce him, break him, bend him. Instead, she felt drawn to him, pulled by something her people never warned her about. That night, she received a transmission from the alien fleet. Her superiors appeared as ghostly holograms, cold, regal, merciless. "Report," one of them demanded. Seraphis bowed her head, forcing her voice steady. "The humans are divided. They argue among themselves. Soon they will break." "Good," the alien leader replied. "When our ships descend, there must be no resistance. Keep them weak. Keep them blind. Use the human if you must. Make him surrender his people." Her chest tightened. For a moment, she almost confessed the truth, that the human they spoke of was not breaking. He was breaking her. But she swallowed the words and forced a smile. "Yes, Commander, it will be done." The holograms vanished, leaving her in silence. Her hands shook. She was lying to her own people, and if they discovered it, she would be marked a traitor. The next morning, Daniel returned. His face was tired, but his eyes burned with fire. He threw a file onto the table between them. Pictures spilled out. Alien ships, weapon blueprints, intercepted transmissions. "We know your fleet is preparing for war," he said. "But we don't know their weakness, you do. Tell me." Seraphis's throat tightened. Her mission screamed at her to stay silent. But her heart screamed louder. She leaned forward, her voice barely a whisper. "There is a power core at the heart of every ship. It is protected by layers of shields impossible to reach from outside. But if a human craft were inside close enough, it could strike. One shot would collapse the core and destroy the vessel." Daniel studied her face carefully. "Why are you telling me this?" She looked away. "Because I don't want you to die." For the first time, his expression softened. Just for a heartbeat, the soldier's mask cracked and she saw the man beneath. "You're risking everything, aren't you?" Her lips trembled. "If they find out, I'm dead." Daniel leaned closer. His voice was quiet, but every word hit her harder than any weapon. "Then why do it?" She closed her eyes, fighting the storm inside. "Because for the first time in my life, I want to choose for myself." The silence between them stretched like a live wire. And in that silence, something dangerous sparked. But before either could say more, the door burst open. A soldier rushed in, his face pale. "Sir, we've caught her transmitting." Seraphis's blood ran cold. Daniel spun toward the soldier. "What do you mean?" The man held up a device, alien technology glowing faintly. This was hidden in her room. "She's been sending messages to her fleet." Gasps filled the chamber. Soldiers raised their rifles, aiming straight at Seraphis. Her heart pounded. She wanted to scream the truth, that she hadn't betrayed them, that the last transmission was a lie to protect Earth. But her voice caught in her throat. Daniel stepped between her and the soldiers, his hand raised. "Lower your weapons." The men hesitated.
"Sir, she's a spy."
"I said lower them." Daniel barked, his voice like thunder. Reluctantly, the rifles lowered. He turned to her, his face unreadable. "Tell me the truth, Seraphis. Did you warn them?" Her lips trembled. Tears stung her eyes, though she hated herself for it. "I told them you were weak, that you would surrender, but it was a lie. I was protecting you." The room went silent. Even the soldiers didn't know how to react. Daniel's gaze cut deep into her soul. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then finally he spoke. "If you're lying, millions will die. If you're telling the truth, you've just betrayed your own people. Either way, you've chosen." Her chest rose and fell rapidly. "Then I choose you." The words slipped out before she could stop them. They hung in the air like lightning. Every soldier in the room froze. Daniel's eyes widened, not with desire, but with something heavier, shock and maybe fear. He turned sharply. "Lock her in the secure wing. No one touches her without my order." The soldiers obeyed, pulling Seraphis to her feet. She didn't resist. Her eyes never left Daniel's as they dragged her away. And in his, she saw a storm brewing. He wanted to trust her, but trust was not easy. As the door slammed behind her, Seraphis knew the next hours would decide everything. Her people would strike in 2 days. The humans would prepare to resist. and between them stood her choice, her heart pulling one way, her duty another. For the first time, the hottest diplomat of the alien empire was no longer in control, and that loss of control terrified her more than death itself. The cell door closed behind Seraphis with a metallic slam. The humans had locked her in a room of steel and shadows, cameras watching her every move. She sat on the cold floor, her back against the wall, trying to steady her breathing. For the first time in her life, she was not the one in control, but deep inside she wasn't angry. She was afraid. Afraid of the choice she had made, afraid of her people discovering her betrayal, afraid of the storm that was only hours away. Above the base, the alien fleet hovered in silence. Their weapons were charged, their engines thrummed like monsters ready to be unleashed. The humans prepared feverishly, loading missiles, running drills, digging trenches. Everyone knew a clash was coming, and at the center of it all stood Daniel. He walked through the base like a shadow carved from steel. His men saluted, his commanders awaited his orders, but his mind was elsewhere. In the deepest part of him, Seraphis's words echoed, "Then I choose you." He wanted to believe her. He wanted to trust her. But trust, he knew, could be deadly. One lie could doom the entire planet. That night, Daniel entered her cell. The guard stepped aside, leaving them alone. Seraphis rose to her feet, her silver hair glowing faintly under the harsh light. "You came. I need answers," Daniel said flatly. "Tomorrow your fleet will descend. If you truly stand with us, then prove it now." Her violet eyes locked onto his. "I already proved it." "I told you their weakness is that's not enough," he shot back. His voice was hard, but beneath it was a tremor of urgency. "I need more than words. I need your loyalty." For a long moment, silence filled the room. Then slowly, Seraphis stepped forward. She placed her hand on his chest just over his heartbeat. "My people trained me to use beauty as a weapon, to seduce, to control. But with you, I have no weapon left. I have only truth. Daniel Hayes, I don't want Earth to burn. And I don't want you to fall." The words pierced deeper than any blade. For the first time, Daniel's mask cracked. His hand rose as if to touch hers, but then the alarm screamed. Sirens blared through the base. Red lights flashed across the steel corridors. Soldiers shouted, running to their stations. Overhead, the thunder of engines shook the ground. The alien fleet had begun its descent. Daniel turned sharply, his voice snapping back into command. "Stay here. Don't move." But Seraphis's heart sank. She knew what was coming, and she knew words alone could not save them. Moments later, the first strike fell. A bolt of plasma ripped through the night sky, crashing into a human outpost miles away. The ground trembled. Fire rose in the distance. The war had begun. Inside the command room, Daniel barked orders. "Deploy anti-air batteries. Scramble the fighters. Get civilians underground." Screens lit up with chaos. Dozens of alien ships breaking through the clouds, their shields glowing like suns. Human fighters rose to meet them, missiles streaking upward. Explosions painted the sky. And in the middle of it all, Seraphis was dragged back to the command deck under heavy guard. Daniel wanted her where he could see her, close but not trusted. The general scowled. "She's the reason they're here," one spat. "We should kill her before she signals again." But Daniel silenced them with a glare. "She stays alive. If she's telling the truth, she may be our only chance." On the giant screen, alien troops began landing on Earth's soil. Their armor glowed, their weapons hissed with lethal energy. The first ground battles erupted, human soldiers clashing with towering alien warriors. Seraphis's chest tightened. She knew those warriors. She had trained beside them, and now they were slaughtering the very people she wanted to protect. The room shook as another blast struck nearby. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Officers shouted, voices drowned by the roar of war. Suddenly, one of the screens went black. The transmission had been cut. An officer's face turned pale. "Sir, we've been infiltrated. Someone inside the base is sending signals to the fleet." Daniel's jaw tightened. His eyes turned slowly toward Seraphis. She froze. "It's not me." The room fell into tense silence. Soldiers raised their weapons, aiming at her once more. "I said it's not me," she cried. Her voice cracked with desperation. Daniel's gaze didn't waver. "Then who?" Her mind raced. Her training screamed at her to stay silent. But her heart pushed the truth from her lips. "There's another diplomat. They never send one alone. She must already be here." The room erupted in shouts. Another infiltrator. Another traitor. Daniel leaned close, his voice like steel. Where is she? Seraphis closed her eyes, fighting tears. She will look like me. Perfect, untouchable, but colder. She has no doubt, no hesitation. If she reaches your command systems, Earth is lost. For the first time, Daniel saw the terror in her eyes. Not fear for herself, but for him. Before he could reply, an explosion ripped through the lower levels of the base. The ground heaved, men fell, alarms screamed. Smoke poured through the corridors. And in the chaos, a figure moved like a shadow. Tall, elegant, beautiful. Almost identical to Seraphis. But her eyes burned a cruel red. The second diplomat had arrived. The base was burning. Smoke rolled through the corridors. Alarms screamed, soldiers scrambled to hold their ground. Outside, the alien fleet unleashed its fury, and the earth trembled under the storm. Daniel stood in the command room, his uniform scorched, his jaw set like stone. Reports poured in from every corner. Cities under siege, defenses cracking, morale shattering. Yet his focus was locked on the two figures now facing each other in the wreckage of the council chamber. Seraphis and her mirror. The second diplomat, the perfect shadow of what Seraphis had once been, stalked forward with crimson eyes blazing. Her presence chilled the air. Where Seraphis's beauty carried warmth, the other's was cold, merciless, sharp enough to wound without touch. You've fallen far, the rival hissed, her voice dripping with venom. From the galaxy's finest seductress to a traitor clutching at a human's mercy. Pathetic. Seraphis's hands clenched into fists. Her violet eyes burned, but her body trembled with exhaustion. I chose something you'll never understand. I chose them. I chose him, the rival smirked. And in doing so, you doomed yourself. Blades of light ignited in both their hands, humming with deadly energy. Soldiers backed away, giving them space. The chamber transformed into a dueling ground. Sparks erupted as the two clashed, every strike a thunderclap, every movement a storm. Daniel's fists tightened. He wanted to intervene, but he knew this was Seraphis's war, her test. He could only watch, every heartbeat heavy as she fought the shadow of her former self. But the second diplomat was faster, sharper, precise. She struck again and again, cutting shallow wounds across Seraphis's arms, her legs, her side. Each hit was a reminder. Seraphis was weakened, fragile, humanized. You hesitate, the rival sneered. Because you feel, because you care. That is why you will die. Seraphis staggered back, her chest heaving. Blood shimmered against her glowing skin. For a heartbeat, despair clawed at her. And then she remembered Daniel's words. Prove it. Her grip tightened on her blade. Her voice rose, steady despite the pain. You call it weakness. I call it freedom. I care, and that makes me stronger than you. She charged again, her strikes wild, fueled by heart more than training. For a moment, she pushed the rival back, forcing surprise onto the other woman's cold face. Sparks flew, walls cracked. The chamber shuddered with their fury. But the rival recovered quickly. With a brutal twist, she disarmed Seraphis, her blade clattering to the floor. In a flash, the second diplomat had her pinned, her blade raised high. Daniel moved. He drew his weapon, aiming, ready to fire. But before he could, the rival pressed her blade against Seraphis's throat. Shoot me, she taunted, her red eyes flicking to him. And she dies first. Daniel froze, his finger trembling on the trigger. Seraphis, gasping under the rival's weight, met his eyes. For a fleeting second, there was no fear, only resolve. Do it, she whispered. Daniel's heart thundered. He couldn't, not like this. The rival's cruel smile widened. You see? Even your human is weak. Her blade pressed deeper, when suddenly the base shook violently. A new explosion ripped through the lower levels. Both women stumbled as the floor cracked, flames bursting upward. The distraction was enough. Seraphis twisted free, slamming her elbow into the rival's chest. Both crashed to the ground, blades scattering across the floor. Daniel seized the moment, he fired. The bullet missed the rival's heart, grazing her shoulder, but it was enough to force her back. She snarled, retreating into the smoke, her voice echoing through the chaos. This isn't over, Seraphis. The fleet will burn your Earth and you will die with it. And then she was gone, vanishing into the shadows. Silence fell, broken only by the alarms and the cries of wounded soldiers. Daniel rushed to Seraphis, catching her as she collapsed. Blood streaked her skin, her breaths ragged, but her eyes, violet and fierce, still glowed with fire. You fought her, he whispered. You survived, she smiled weakly. No, I only delayed her. She will strike again, and when she does, she won't hold back. Daniel's jaw tightened. Then we finish this before she gets the chance. Seraphis's hand clutched his arm. There's only one way. The command ship. Its core links all their vessels. If I connect to it, I can end them, but her voice broke, her body trembling. It will kill me. Daniel's heart clenched. He wanted to refuse to find another way, but he saw the truth in her eyes. There was no other path. She leaned close, her voice soft, trembling. Promise me one thing, Daniel Hayes, when it's done. Remember me not as their weapon, but as your choice. His throat tightened. I promise. And in that moment, with the base crumbling around them and Earth's skies ablaze, they knew what Part 6 would demand, a sacrifice that would shake the stars. The battlefield was drowning in fire. The sky above Earth burned with wreckage. Alien ships spiraled down in flames. Human fighters fell like broken wings. Explosions thundered across the horizon, painting the night red. The smell of smoke, blood, and steel filled the air, and in the heart of the chaos, Seraphis stood, her silver hair tangled with ash, her violet eyes locked on the figure who mirrored her form, her rival, her shadow, the second diplomat. The other woman moved with a deadly grace, her red eyes glowing with merciless intent. Where Seraphis carried doubt, the other carried certainty. Where Seraphis's heart faltered, the other's heart was stone. Traitor, the second diplomat hissed. You were meant to break this world, not bleed for it. Seraphis's chest rose and fell, her voice trembling but firm. I was meant to follow orders, but for once I choose more than obedience. I choose humanity. The second diplomat laughed, the sound sharp and cold. Then you choose death. The clash was inevitable. Energy blades hissed to life, glowing with alien light. The two diplomats collided. Sparks sprang through the ruined corridors of the base. Soldiers fell back, giving them space, their eyes wide. For them, this was not just a fight, it was a storm. Beauty turned into violence, loyalty battling betrayal. Seraphis fought with desperation, her every strike fueled not by training but by something fiercer. Love, fear, hope. The other diplomat countered with precision. Every move calculated, merciless, perfect. Again and again their blades clashed, lighting the darkness. Daniel watched from a distance, torn. He wanted to rush in to help, but he knew this was Seraphis's battle, her final proof. The second diplomat's blade cut across Seraphis's arm. Blood shimmered like silver under the light. She staggered, pain lancing through her body. The other smiled coldly. You are weak because you care. Seraphis gritted her teeth, forcing herself upright. No, I am strong because I care. With a roar, she surged forward, striking harder, faster, her movements wild but full of fire. The second diplomat faltered, surprised by the storm of emotion. For the first time, she was pushed back, but it wasn't enough. With a final strike, the rival slammed Seraphis to the floor, her blade raised for the kill. Soldiers shouted, Daniel's heart stopped. The world seemed to freeze. And then Seraphis did the unthinkable. She dropped her blade, lying on her back. Blood pooling beneath her, she looked up at the woman who was her mirror and whispered, If you must kill me, then kill me. But know this, I already won, because I felt something you will never feel. Love. And it made me free. For a heartbeat, the second diplomat hesitated. For a heartbeat, doubt flickered in her red eyes. And in that heartbeat, Daniel moved. He fired. The bullet tore through the second diplomat's chest. She gasped, her blade falling from her hand, her body collapsing in a shimmer of alien light. Silence fell as her form dissolved into ash. Seraphis lay trembling, her breath shallow. Daniel rushed to her side, dropping to his knees. His hands pressed against her wound, his voice fierce. Stay with me. Don't you dare leave me now. Her eyes fluttered open, weak but shining. You trusted me. I did, he whispered, his throat tight. And you proved me right. Above them, the battle raged on. Alien ships still tore through the skies, human defenses faltered. But Seraphis, gasping through the pain, pressed her bloodied hand against Daniel's chest. There is one last way. One chance to save Earth, she whispered. Daniel leaned close. Tell me, her voice was fragile, breaking. The fleet's command ship? Its core can be destabilized only with a direct link. My blood, my DNA, it carries the key. If you connect me to their systems, I can collapse the heart of their army. Daniel's face went pale. You'll die, she smiled faintly. I was never meant to live. I was meant to be a weapon. But if I die for you, for them, Then I was more than what they made me. Tears stung Daniel's eyes, though he tried to hide them. No, we'll find another way. There is no other way, she whispered. Daniel Hayes, let me be the shield for your world. Let me prove that even an alien built for deception can choose truth. Her body was failing, but her eyes, violet and fierce, never wavered. With a heavy heart, Daniel lifted her into his arms. Alarms blared, soldiers cleared the path, and together they carried her to the command center. There, amidst the chaos, Seraphis was connected to the alien systems. Her DNA flared against the console, her body glowing with energy as she forced herself into the heart of the fleet's network. Outside, alien ships faltered. Their shields flickered. Their cores trembled. One by one, they began to collapse, falling from the sky like dying stars. The room shook, the world thundered, the fleet screamed in defeat. And at the center of it all, Seraphis cried out, her body arching as the energy consumed her. Daniel held her hand, refusing to let go. Fight it! Stay with me! She looked at him one last time, tears shining like jewels. You gave me something they never could. Choice. Her glow grew brighter, blinding until finally it burst outward in a wave of light. When the brightness faded, the screen showed the truth. The alien fleet was gone. Earth was safe, but Seraphis's hand had gone cold. Daniel bowed his head, grief crashing over him. Around him, soldiers cheered victory, but to him it felt hollow. For in saving the world, he had lost the only one who had truly chosen him. And yet, as he lifted his eyes to the stars, he swore he could hear her voice, carried on the wind. Desire is easy, trust is not. And Daniel Hayes, hero of Earth, vowed that he would never forget the alien who had chosen trust over obedience, love over duty, and sacrifice over life.